Okay, so today I want to show you a gadget that I found to simplify working with multiple cameras up to 4K for just a couple $100, which otherwise would cost over $3,000 if you bought the high-end stuff. Here it goes. All right, here's the funny thing about what I found. I was looking for HDMI switches, and I found a couple for a couple $100 from Atomos, right? I have an Atomos Ninja V. In fact, this entire thing you're watching now is recorded on an Atomos Ninja V. And I'm going to go through the details of how that works in a minute. So I'm using a Ninja V right now to record this, but I have multiple cameras. In fact, here I go. There's the gadget. Now, this is coming from a second 4K camera. This is a Canon EOS 90D. This one right here, right? So this camera here, this is my, which one is this one? This is a Lumix G95 shooting in 4K. Now I could switch over here. Here's a third camera, and I don't know why, but the colors seem to go out of whack here. But you'll see when I switch back, it's going to work. I'll have to talk to the manufacturer about this because I'm going to switch back to number one, and there's the color. All right, so here I am, I'm back to there, and there's a little flicker once in a while, but not often. I'm going to switch. That was a 1080, so this is a 4K, and switching to another 4K, and now I'm switching to a 1080 old school camera, and then I guess there might have been a flicker before. This time, a little flicker. Hey, what are you going to do? But I switched back to this 4K G95, and I could actually switch to a fourth one right here. And this is a GoPro, right? And just so you see what I'm holding, I'm going to show it here. So here's a GoPro. This is a GoPro 11 with the media kit with an HDMI port. So now I'm switching to that one. So here I am on the GoPro. This is a 5 point whatever megapixel, but it's shooting through HDMI. So here I am. I'm talking to the GoPro directly, and now I can aim it. So now I have a handheld camera. And now this one here has 8 ports. 8 ports. They make a 4-port version of this for only $250. What's unique about this, and I know there's occasionally a little flicker, and I don't know what the deal is with switching to my 1080 camera and getting that weird color, because you can see the color of this table is blue, and when I switch it does something. And I think it's done this with another camera that I had too, so I'm not sure what that is. I might have to talk to the manufacturer. Anyhow, when I switch over to camera 1, camera 2, that's this one right here that points down, and now camera 4 is my GoPro. So the GoPro, I'm going to use that because I'm working handheld right now. By the way, all this audio is coming out of a microphone that's connected to an external thing, so I usually sync up anyway. And there's a little bit of extra stuff to deal with to get the audio, but I covered that in another video. Why is this switcher different from the run-of-the-mill ones you might get in Best Buy? Well, this switcher here, other than the fact that it comes in a 4 and an 8 port, it is also an upscaler, and you set the resolution as you want it to go out. So I might be able to zoom in a little bit here, but you could see down there, possibly, depending on how good the focus is on this GoPro. But it's currently in a 4K 30. So no matter what I put in, it's going to upscale it to 4K 30, or downscale if it's higher, I guess. So you could go 480, 1080, 720, or 1024 by 768, I believe. And then there is also, so that you could do with a button. So you could choose a button, these buttons over here, to choose what your output resolution should be. And then there's also an auto, and what the auto button does is if you turn on auto, basically every time you plug in a new gadget, it automatically just switches to the new input. Oh, and by the way, I did set, since this is a 8 port, I decided, hey, let's do something on port number 6. And there it is. This is one of those gaming sticks with a gazillion games on it. So like, let's say you wanted to do something like that, you could, put the, play a game, and then if you want to switch to you can switch over to your front. Oh, I'm looking at the GoPro, but it's this one. You could switch over with this. It also has a remote, so I could do that with the remote. So if I want to switch to my camera number 2, I could do that, and there it is, my camera 2. And the GoPro, as I mentioned, was on 4. So I could do that. So now I'm on the GoPro. I keep looking at the wrong camera. So why is this important? Well, first of all, for someone who wants to just shoot or stream something and have it in 4K, and in my particular case, I have it all going onto this Ninja V, and it's recording right now. So the Ninja V is recording regardless. It's taking whatever's coming out of the output on the back of this gadget. So again, this is the 8 port, so it has eight ports in the back. I'm using 5 of them right now, 4 cameras plus the gaming thing. But the bottom line is I can switch between them. And yes, I could have probably gotten rid of that little momentary flicker and freeze as I jump back to my primary camera, which to me wasn't a problem. The only time it made a little bit of a tear was when I went from my 1080p camera and I switched over to the 4K. But let's say again I'm going from a 4K like this one here to my 4K over here to the 4K handheld, which is my camera number 4. So here I am on my camera number 4, the GoPro. Now, normally, if I wanted to do a 5-camera shoot, and of course I probably wouldn't recommend a 5-camera shoot to anybody unless you're a masochist, but if I wanted to shoot a 4K thing and I want to stream it out, yes, I can get 4 capture cards that are 4K, and I could plug them into a 4 different USB ports, but you're going to use up a ton of bandwidth and your computer's going to choke all over it. I'm able to record all 4 of these, not simultaneously, but I'm getting from here whichever camera I chose. And I apologize for the color that's not necessarily being balanced here, because the GoPro I have it on like automatic, and the Panasonic is at one light temperature, and the Canon might be. But the point there is I can get my 4 cameras up. I don't have to have 4K streams going into 4 different capture cards. And I also, in this particular case, I'm doing this all without having any computer whatsoever. Everything is being recorded right now. I'm going to switch to camera 4 right now. It's all being recorded. You can see the little thing ticking away. It's all being recorded on the Ninja V in real time. So when I want to go into the edit on this, what do I need to do to edit this? All I need to do is take the Ninja V, which now has all of the final mix, let's just call it that, which has all the transitions exactly when I push the button for each one. Yes, you lose some flexibility. You lose the ability to just change the edit. Like, let's say I wanted to do something in post and switch from this camera to number 2. Well, I can't. But I am saving a ton of time, because those are the edits that I really wanted at the moment that I'm actually recording it. I'm shooting it like it's live. So just like if I was in a studio and I had a director and a bunch of people in a control room choosing which camera angle to choose, I could choose the camera angle. I could use my little remote to do it, which is right here. And the final mix is there. So my post-editing is really just going to be putting my sound the way I like it, because as you can see, I record my audio separately here, and then I switch between my cameras. So that takes us to the big question. How do I get one of these? Where are they? What's the brand name? I forgot. I watched a video from the company that made this, and they didn't put the name of the product in their video, and in their description I said, well, you didn't mention it in the video, you should at least put it in the description. So it's like WolfPack or something like that. I think it's WolfPack, but I might be wrong. But here's the great thing. I'm going to put all the information about how to get one of these in the description. So if you've hopefully been following this long, the description will tell you everything you need to know about how to get one of these. Now, I can tell you this isn't something you're going to find on eBay. It's not something you're going to find on Amazon. There is one supplier, really great company. I had some email exchanges with them, great people. In fact, I think I even spoke on the phone with Rachel. So you might reach out to them and reach somebody, a real person. They are a high-end audio video company. They do like the kind of switches that people use to make those big walls with like 10 monitors all linked up to one. So they have some really high-end stuff. It's like HD video, I forgot. It's going to be in the description. And the important part there is I'm going to find out the best way for them to get these. Because in my particular case, when I needed to get one of these, it wasn't in stock and it would cost a lot to ship it. And that's how I started a conversation with them. I said, boy, shipping costs an awful lot. And they said, well, it's because we don't have them in stock. And when we don't have them in stock, they have to ship directly from the factory overseas. So Here's the bottom line. It's a great little gadget. If you're looking for a way to save on an HDMI switcher and you want to keep 4K, that's the important part. Because you can get, like from Atomos, you can get for a few $100, you can get a 4-channel switch. The Blackmagic design makes a 4-channel switch, also 1080p for a few $100. So for this 4-port version, which is $250 right now, you get 4 ports and it's 4K. And you can't get that with the others. And the output from this is going into the input on the Atomos. Now, I did have some issues initially trying to figure out how to get the audio to be right. The way to make that work, because of some firmware stuff inside of the Atomos, is there's an actually, I could show you. Boy, I love the fact that I could do this. Let me switch to number 4. So on the back of, oops, I'm covering the lens. So on the back here, next to the HDMI port, is an audio jack. A standard audio jack. Now, I know I'm telling you that's how I'm doing it, but it's not. The bottom line is you could just run that line to go to the audio input on the Atomos. In this particular case, I also set it to have a 4-frame compensation, which is something you would do to any HDMI that has an external audio, because there's always a slight gap in the compression time. In my particular case, I do have an audio cable going into the Atomos, which is where my reference audio is, and I want to call it what it is. It's reference audio. There's an audio track there. It's coming from, as you could probably see, my Shure SM7B, but the SM7B is plugged into a Zoom F6 coming out of the audio out right there. So the audio out there, and then of course there's the SM7B going in here. So all my audio is going on to a pristine 32-bit. I got to learn not to hold the camera and then cover it. It's going into a pristine 32-bit float audio, so I don't really care about the audio coming out of here, but the reference audio is useful because then there's audio on the Atomos track, so I could sync to that rather than having to resort to old school movie making techniques, which is to normally you see movies being made, they have the clapboard clap, and what that is, in case you're not familiar with that, is they make a visual clap and then you look at the audio track later and you make the first clack sound match the visual clack. So I could have done something like that. I could have, because it's more modern, I could have just clapped my hands at the beginning and then just lined them up in my video editor and they'd be fine. But the great thing about it is I don't have to line up 4 audio tracks, even if I did have to manually synchronize these things, because, well, everything's going into one file. So I'm switching back and forth to 6 different inputs, and it is recording whatever channel I want onto the Atomos in real time. Right now it's number 6, and now I switch back to number 1, and again, to go through it again, 2 is my Canon EOS 90D. 3 for some reason is a 1080 that's in the wrong color, except for when you hit it a second time. Wait a minute, that wasn't it. 4, is it 3? 3, I'm sorry, it was 3. So 3 does that, and when you switch out to a different camera, it apparently shows its color for a second. I'll have to figure out from there, and it did that with one of the other old GoPros, by the way. This one's the GoPro. This is a GoPro too. So in summary, if you've stayed with me this long, this is a great little gadget. It's really just a few $100. $250 I think is a great price for something that has 4 inputs that lets you do this. I don't think anybody needs more than 4. I went with the 8 because I'm just nuts, to be honest with you. And in this particular case, it turned out to be pretty good because nobody really needed 4 cameras. But this gaming stick is actually covering up, it takes up a lot of space. So unless I put an extension on it, I couldn't have put a 5th one in. I couldn't put it in 5. Because it wouldn't have fit. It was too big. So the 8 actually worked out being kind of nice. And again, there I am switching back. So by the way, you do notice when I switch between the cameras that was number 4. So 4, there is a little momentary thing, like a momentary pause, and then it does switch very cleanly between all of the 4K inputs. The only time we saw anything visibly out of whack was when I went from a 1080 source, and it probably has nothing to do with the fact that it was 1080. I think it has more to do with the fact that particular camera is very old. The other time I did have that weird color effect problem. Again, was a very old camera. This is an old Canon camcorder. I just used it just to see how that works. But this is it. If you've stuck with me this long, I want to thank you, because not a lot of people do, but that also means that you probably are looking for how to get one of these. Again, look in the description. I will get up-to-date information, and the great thing about it is that information may change, because if a lot of people are interested in these, maybe they'll stock them in the US, maybe they'll make some of them easily available through eBay or something like that. So this is it. It's like WolfPack or something like that. This is the 8-port. They make a 4-port. The 8-port is $399, I believe. The 4-port is $250, which again, to me, is a steal for something that does what this does. I am looking forward to doing a lot more of these multi-camera shoots, because I have a ton of gear I haven't gotten to yet. I mean, let me show you some of the gear. Hey, see, I could do that. I have tons of gear in boxes and bags waiting to be unpacked. There's the newest Rodecaster Pro. I have the DBX 286. I have a Min-Max from Behringer. I have, you have no idea how much stuff I have to review here, but that's what I do. That's kind of why I make this channel. I just love going over my gear and showing people how to use it. So until next time, thanks for watching.